Right, okay. Hopefully it sounds good. And if it doesn't, it's the pilot episode, so oh well. In the future, we'll get like a better audio setup, but right, okay. So welcome everyone to the Film Bros podcast, the kind of more like review podcast. We basically watch a film now and then, make notes, talk about it. That's basically what this is.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically, what do we go see on Sunday?
What do you mean? I'm going to go watch Star Wars.
Yeah, I
You're not going to make it sound dramatic. I'm going to go see Star Wars.
I didn't know how to like transition. I feel like this is going to sound a bit rough for the first one, but we'll get used to it.
Yeah, it's fine. Slap it in the title.
Yeah, no, well, obviously there'll be like a title, so I mean, obviously no one's going to be surprised actually now that we watched. So so basically we watched Rogue One, which is kind of its own standalone Star Wars
film.
Yeah, it's not like part of any trilogies or anything. Personally, my Star Wars history is a bit, I don't know what the word is, like limited. Whereas you're like more of a fan.
Yeah, quite like them.
So, me personally, I probably watched the original film when it's on TV, but I don't really remember much. And I watched the 2015 one in cinemas, but I don't really remember anything.
Do you know why I didn't remember anything?
Yeah, I know you're not...
Because it doesn't exist.
I know
There's only six Star Wars films if you include Rogue One.
Yeah, and I know you're not personally a fan of the what do you call it, like the sequel trilogy?
Yeah, sure. Let's call it that.
But we watched Rogue One, and personally, you've...
I quite enjoyed it. I've watched it about 9 times, but watching it in cinema is always the best.
Yeah, because I don't know if this is like a Cineworld thing, or if this is like specifically the Cineworld in Middlesbrough, but they're doing like Star Wars Sundays.
Yeah. So, yeah, I haven't said that. Me and Ben were talking about this, and like, are we going to aim for next Sunday to watch?
I was just thinking this, it depends on the time, because I just remembered this Sunday I do have a driving lesson, so I'm making it specifically to the cinema.
There are 3 times.
Oh, there's 3 times, that's okay. I might make it then. I was just thinking about like I for some reason thought there was only going to be 1 time, considering it's a re-showing of old movies, and I didn't think they had that many.
No, there is.
But, yeah. I mean, this is but going back to just discussing Rogue One, got some notes. Personally, I was realising I probably have the notes up before I talk about it. So, I got the Wikipedia synopsis. And it's basically a 2016 American epic space opera film. Now, I don't know what an epic space opera film is supposed to mean.
Meant to mean Star Wars.
Yeah, that's practical.
The epitome.
I can't imagine there's loads of films underneath that genre.
Star Trek, many people.
I feel like that's a dramatic name. And I believe it's a straight prequel from the original film.
Yeah.
So you got...
Like, it is a standalone film, like its own story. However, it is like, it's like glue. It is good at tying in the story. Like, even without it, Star Wars makes sense. But it's nice to have a little bit of context.
Yeah, because I believe you got the prequel trilogy, and then you got Rogue One.
Yeah, then the original, and then the ones we don't talk about.
And so, the biggest question, is this a standalone film? Which, they say yes.
I mean, yes, but my personal opinion is like, no. Like, yes and no. I don't know, I have mixed feelings. Because technically it is, but no, if you're like a Star Wars fan and like having that connecting glue.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm a bit like behind on my knowledge, because I feel like stuff like...
Yeah, but we both have very different opinions. Like, me, I quite like Star Wars, like, quite a big fan since I was young. But you, in a way, don't particularly care for it.
It's more
So
growing up. It was more my cousins and uncles thing.
yeah,
I feel like even though this is supposed to be Rogue One because it's the first one, like review podcast, I feel like it's kind of like our more general Star Wars like history as well, I suppose. Yeah, because like with Rogue One being a standalone film, I feel like if you haven't watched Star Wars before, I feel like there might be stuff personally didn't understand kind of, and I feel like it's rather like I'll give the other Star Wars a go, but I feel like
yeah.
I feel like that's kind of
the original trilogy. I appreciate.
yeah. I feel like that kind of I can't, cause I feel like I can't imagine someone being like, yeah, I quite like Rogue One, and only seeing Rogue One out of all this, like, and never any other Star Wars films.
Yeah, it's like it is a standalone film, probably for those who understand Star Wars. That you can also see it as a separate thing. But for those who haven't watched Star Wars and watch it, it probably won't make sense because there are references to future movies, and like with the like the enemy being the Empire. Like if you haven't watched the original, you're probably gonna think like, what is this random Empire? So
yeah, I still feel like there was bits I didn't quite understand, which problem is I'll just say
like you did recognise the stormtroopers, right? You weren't like,
oh yeah, no, I know like
bozos.
I mean I know Darth Vader, Princess Leia, like at the. Actually, I feel like I should probably get a spoiler alert,
You just
but like
slap it in like the title. It's fine.
But at the same time, like if you are a Star Wars fan, I don't know. 'Cause I don't know if this review is going to be more for like. It's more our thoughts. It's like it might be like
Just talk about the film here.
yeah. I feel like if I feel like I would just recommend if anyone hasn't seen it and want to watch. I feel like they are going to see it. Probably they should see it before listening to our thoughts about it. Otherwise, it wouldn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like people that might would see Star Wars might be interested in the whole like. I'm personally trying to get in it now with Rogue One, and then I can go straight into the original. Whereas you're massive fan.
I wouldn't say massive fan, but I do quite enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot more as a child, I would say.
Yeah. And I think I might have seen what's that cartoon called? Like because they had like an animated thing.
What, Star Wars the Clone Wars?
Yeah. I might have seen bits of that one
Best
without
TV show
remembering because it probably will when it's on TV.
Watching that before school as a Star Wars fan was peak growing up.
Yeah. So like my overall opinions of Rogue One is I can appreciate it. I might not know what's going on sometimes is my biggest issue at this current moment.
Yeah, but even still, like, the story itself and, like, the graphics and the CGI, they're all very impressive. So even as, like, a film view, like, a film point, it's still impressive either way.
And, like,
visually striking.
Our history is we're both film and TV production students, currently we're in third year, so, like, from a filmmaking point of view.
Yeah, you can definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, and I feel like...
if you don't do film, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those films where I thought I can probably watch the making of, if there is, like, one for Rogue One. Maybe in Star Wars films in general. Because it's like, I'm kind of interested now about they do, like, the... Like, some, like, the locations. Like...
Yeah, some of the locations are actually real, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they're not on different planets, but, like...
Oh, really? I thought they were.
They would have done, like, some sandy planet in, like, probably Egypt as a filming location or something. Or, like, San Francisco desert.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. I'm quite...
A bit like how Lord of the Rings was, like, it's set in, like, a fantasy world, but it's actually filmed in New Zealand.
Yeah. Like, that sort of stuff I'm quite impressed about. And also, like, do you know how they do the... I have a rough idea. I haven't looked this up. Do you know how they do the space sort of stuff with, like, the spaceships and the...
I'm trying to think, because I've watched the making of Revenge of the Sith, which is another Star Wars film. And I think they did quite a bit with models, actually.
Because that would have been my guess.
Yeah.
And then, like... That, that sort of stuff I'm honestly impressed with. I'm trying to think if there's anything Rogue One specific than just Star Wars in general, but I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it feels like we're talking about more about Star Wars in general and Rogue One. So what did you think of like the movie itself? Like, tell me what parts of the story you liked. What were your favourite characters?
Actually, yeah, I think I made note of that. Actually, favourite character on the thing, and I'm terrible at character names, so that doesn't help. But I like the it was like a droid.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of like the comic relief character.
I forgot his name, but he's quite funny. He sort of reminds me of Sheldon in the way from like, the Big Bang. But yeah, he had me giggling in cinema.
Yeah, I can hear as well. When we watched Disney, this would have been like your
our
night
mate Alex
rewatch.
was with us and he was
our friend Alex. In fact, it was even funny because we went with our friend Alex and I think he forgot like what movie we went to see, or he didn't really pay much attention. He was just like he just agreed to come with us.
Yeah.
And then we were like, he was like, well, what movie are you watching? He was like, Rogue One, Star Wars. And he was like, yes. And then he was surprised that like he thought they remade it for some reason. He didn't quite understand the concept of cinema showing old films or like for films that age.
Yeah.
I don't know the film ain't that old, but
if I was like a new Star Wars, and was like, because Alex seems to be a bit of a Star Wars fan as well, and I thought, one, you would have heard about it, and two,
exactly.
Not if it was a new Star Wars film, they wouldn't have been selling it for £5. It would have been like 20 quid or something. So
I know that surprised me. It was like he's happy about it, but he thought it was a new one.
He enjoyed it regardless because it is a good film. But...
Yeah. I'm glad you weren't like, seen this before. Not what I'm talking about. I actually recognised... There was one actor I recognised. And do you know who it was? I forgot the actor's name.
I know it is because it's in that other comedy film we watched. What
was it?
I don't know his name, but it was the Imperial Pilot, wasn't it?
That's not even who I was going to say, but I think you're right. No, there's an actor from Sex Education, the principal, for some reason.
He's one of the generals, isn't he, for the rebellion?
Yeah, it was quite nice seeing him because he's not like
it wasn't just him though. Like, I don't know the names, but I noticed there was a lot of British actors in it.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, I noticed that there are a lot of British ones. It's not just Americans.
Because I was expecting it all to be American. Well, not expecting because I watched it 9 times, but I never really took notice of the characters' ethnicities or like where they're from. So.
Yeah.
And then you start hearing the British accent and you're like, oh yeah.
Which, something I wasn't quite sure I was going to mention is accents when they're not got anything to do with Earth.
No.
So it's like,
it's all a bunch of different alien species.
But funny enough, they got like a British accents, American accents probably.
Yeah. I don't know if Earth is actually mentioned in Star Wars.
Because I did wonder that, but...
Yeah, I think there's just humans from different planets.
And it starts off with a galaxy far away, so it kind of like makes it sound like nothing, nowhere.
Speaking of a galaxy far, far away. So, it started with a galaxy far, far away. Despite watching it 9 times, I don't know why I was expecting it, but I thought it would start with the like... Da-da-da-da-da, and it didn't. Like, it didn't start with the opening that all of them do. I don't know, I was really upset. Not upset about it, but I was really disappointed. Because even though I watched it, I sort of forgot it didn't have it. So I was going to be like, it's about something. It's like,
Yeah, like, I'm aware that they do that, because that's a well-known thing that everyone knows, and the music. But I feel like...
The Star Wars call.
But I felt like it looked a bit inconsistent from, like, how they probably do that for all the other films, right?
Yeah.
The scrolling and everything. But I don't know if that's just because they want to like make it something different from the original, but that's like from the other films.
Yeah.
To make it,
in my opinion, it's the only good Star Wars film that Disney has ever made. So I don't want to say the only good thing Disney has made that is Star Wars, because The Mandalorian was quite good, but I haven't watched The Acolyte, but that sounds terrible. And the films we don't talk about, they messed it up.
Yeah, and I feel like going back to Rogue One, I was looking up a lot of reviews to find out what the general public like review is, and a lot of people say it's weird because on Reddit it's kind of like I'm getting the idea it's kind of a joke that like people keep bringing up like people keep doing posts monthly being like Rogue One's so underrated, like am I the only one that thinks it's a good film? And the whole comment section is just like, yes, we get a post like this every month on the Star Wars subreddit, we know it's a good film.
I mean, it is very impressive. I remember being blown away by it in cinema when I first watched it.
Yeah, I mean, my overall opinion is like
some of the scenes are really cool, like the battle on Scarif and
the Darth Vader, like that's the well-known like
the Darth
where
Vader
he's, like,
scenes.
That
the lights of the Star Wars lightsaber, and also what was another scene I really liked?
I was actually thinking that there wasn't really any lightsaber, but then I realised Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, the research facility where it gets blown up by the rebel fighters. That was really cool.
Yeah. That sort of stuff is like from a filmmaker point of view, I can appreciate, even if it's like.
And then the end scene where Darth Vader just kills a bunch of people to get the Death Star plans.
Yeah, and I saw another like thing on Reddit. Someone did a comment like, "Oh, was it? I read it somewhere where they're like, I like how he had to kill a bunch of people just so it can immediately tie into the original, like people that weren't in the original."
He just killed a bunch of random rebel soldiers just to tie it.
It's like they're not in the original, so it's like, I'll get rid of them. I mean, there's the biggest thing is about the use of bringing back old actors that I make a note of it, because I feel that's a big thing.
Yeah, I don't know if Carrie Fisher died at this point, R.I.P., but
Carrie Fisher died. I looked it up. Carrie Fisher died a few days after it came out, so she would have still been alive.
But they used CGI quite a bit they used it for Princess Leia and
Peter Cushing.
Yeah, but that's not his name in Star Wars.
Yeah, I forgot
Governor Tarkin, I think his name is. But yeah, they used it for both characters. But it isn't just Star Wars that does this. Spoiler alert for Alien Romulus as well, but they also do it in that for one of the characters.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like I can tell that they were using like CG, like because they kind of look a bit off.
Yeah, but also it is very impressive because even though it looks a bit off, it's sort of like it works enough to be able like not ruin the entire experience. Like you still feel like that the character is there saying them lines.
Yeah, but then a lot of people think with Princess Leia, it was more like just to get Star Wars fans be like, oh, it's like.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, even if she was alive, she was probably very ill at that point. So
I mean, she's not. I think
it.
Carrie Fisher might have been like 19 years old, like for the theory.
Yeah, she was old, and didn't she have cancer or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
she was filming for. Surely around this time, she was doing filming for the sequel trilogy, because you're still in the sequel trilogy.
I don't know. I don't care about the sequel trilogy, so I haven't bothered to look into how they were made.
But I'm sure Carrie Fisher was still in it.
Maybe. I'll probably have to have a look.
But yeah, I mean, I felt like her appearance was more just to get people excited than it being necessary. From what I've read as well.
I don't know if she was advertised in the trailer.
Yeah, I'm always like, it'd be
nice
cheeky. Yeah, it would be quite cheeky if it was just for it to be at the end. Because it would be like a bit weird if they're like, oh, it's the guess she's going to be in the film, and then she's just right at the end. It's like,
I mean, okay. I didn't know Princess Leia would be in it the first time I watched it. So when I did watch it and I saw it, then it was like, oh, she's in it.
Yeah, but did you hear what about this? There's a recent thing about Peter Cushing. His estate. What's it like? The people that kind of like, because even though he's died 30 years ago now, 22 years before the film came out. I think it's like his friend or someone has recently sued Disney for using his likeness.
Yeah, I was thinking that because we were debating this when we came out of the film. Like, even if you're an actor and you're dead, they can use CGI to bring you back to life, and like you don't get the royalties properly, and I don't know how it works. If your family gets it, or if nobody gets it, and they can just use your, as you said, likeness, and because if that's the case, and they can just use CGI, then maybe that's a problem for future actors. Maybe they'll just start getting rid of actors and
because
replacing them.
as we're recording this, a day ago, there was an article saying Judge rules legal battle over Peter Cushing's image in the Star Wars The Go trial, which is a bit weird how it's a recent thing, despite the fact the film came out 8 years ago. It's like a bit too late to care now.
Legal battle's gone for a while, don't they?
It might be, but I got the impression that some guy recently sued Disney just for Peter. And I think it does seem like a bit of a cash grab, because I swear because it's like he's dead, so it's not like the money's going to go to Peter Cushing. It's just going to be someone trying to sue Disney for some money on
maybe.
And they argue that apparently I believe they argued that he wouldn't want this. Like, he wouldn't want to be in... But I don't know, I can't... It's too late now. Pete Cushing's dead. Wouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean... I don't know. It's interesting. His character, a bit like Boba Fett, even though they're only in a few scenes, but yet they become so popular. Like, even in the original trilogy, like... Governor Tarkin, I think he's only in the first film. And I think he dies when the Death Star gets blown up or something. So, like... But, yeah, he became really popular for some reason.
But there's a whole, like, ethic. I wrote ethics here. And, and we had many uni lessons about ethics, so those lecturers would be like, oh. Well, there's a whole thing, I believe, recently, as, like, we've lost Darth Vader's voice actor. But I swear he said something about, I need to fact check this probably. But I swear there's a thing where he's like, he says it's okay for AI to use his voice so Disney can... I swear he's getting permission.
To be fair, they probably have they won't need his voice for Darth Vader. It's probably just an audio thing where they can just create it so anybody can... A bit like Daleks in Doctor Who. Like, it's not the original Dalek voices, it'll be like... Anybody can do it because they'll have like a voice.
There is a main, but that's a current. That's since the revival in 2005. That's done it. Apparently the old.
Anybody could play Darth Vader. Like the guy in Rogue One probably wasn't the original actor, right?
I think it might. Yeah, I think it was. I looked it up. I think it was still James L. James L.
Interesting.
Whatever his name is.
I haven't watched the behind the scenes of it.
I did also look up who's playing Darth Vader, like the actual body thing, and he's done a lot of like sort of body doubles is the right word. Like he's played the werewolf in Harry Potter 3, I swear. So that specific Rogue, the one that played like the physical actor in Rogue One of Darth Vader, he does like a lot of like body stuff.
I feel like we've talked more about Star Wars in general than Rogue One. What was your favourite scene in Rogue One then?
I mean, I suppose like the more suspense. I can't say what suspense. I say suspenseful. I can't get the word out.
Suspenseful.
Yeah, like the whole Darth Vader. I mean, I've mentioned this for scenes already, like Darth Vader's lightsaber. The bit where they're like blowing things up. It's quite satisfying to watch.
That's like the whole... No, but you must have had like a specific scene that you enjoyed the most. Were you paying attention to the movie?
I can't...
You weren't watching it.
I'm trying to think. What scenes do you...
Bro, are we going to call this the Star Wars podcast then? Because I don't think like we've talked enough about Rogue One itself to justify it being called Rogue One.
I could put like Rogue One in brackets, plus the general stuff. I mean, like... name me some scenes from Rogue One.
I'm not going to name you scenes. You watched it the other day. What can you remember?
Remember the beginning?
Well,
I remember.
what was your favourite type of stormtrooper then?
Actually, that was something I was going to say. I've noticed some of the stormtroopers looked a bit different.
Yeah. No, I remember watching that in cinema. Actually, the Death Troopers are actually quite cool. I think they're like special forces type stormtroopers who can actually shoot and like hit people rather than like shoot and not hit anything. If you're a Star Wars fan, you'll appreciate that.
I mean,
but like,
maybe I'll have to end up. Remember, unless I have to look up what the stormtroopers look like. From my memory, I swear some of them looked a bit more cheaply made than others. Like
cheaply made,
like the cost. Like
Eh?
I don't know. Like, hang on,
What
I
do
don't
you
know.
mean?
Whether after
Apart
there was
from, like,
there was how I remembered how I'm aware of what they look like, and then there was some that looked slightly different, but they looked a bit.
No, the design in Rogue One and the original trilogy is the same.
But I
But
swear
the-
some of
the
them
new
did look
tr-
different.
The new trilogy messed up their design a bit.
But I swear in Rogue One, some of them did look different. Just some of them.
There's three variants. There's the regulars, the Death Troopers, and then the desert ones on the Scarif base.
But like in a scene together, there would have been like two lots of different ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there were three.
Maybe they're three. I didn't really notice like the three different ones. I've only noticed like two different ones.
I mean, technically, if you want to count the tank ones as well, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And the scouts, but it doesn't matter.
I just anything else more to mention because it's like I wanted to try focus on Rogue One, but problem because obviously like I will watch the original trilogy at some point.
Yeah, we're gonna go watch the next one next Sunday. After the drama.
Yeah, if the times line up,
Yeah.
so we can do like A New Hope for whenever we end up doing the next like episode.
And then before you know it, Ben will love Star Wars. So
Yeah, we'll see if this actually is it more going to be like the like I feel like the first. How are they showing them then? Are they doing it like Rogue One, the original? Because like, did we miss the
They showed them
prequels?
in film order. Yeah, we missed the prequels.
Oh, okay. But I mean, I can obviously still.
So Rogue One, then the original trilogy, and then, as far as I'm concerned, that's where it ends. But if Ben wants to go watch the new trilogy, then
So you would be up for that?
the new trilogy.
Yeah.
No, that's why I said. As far as I'm concerned, it
But you
ends
said if
there.
Ben wanted to.
But Ben wants to go watch it by himself, so I should have specified. I'm not rewatching the new trilogy. It's god awful.
Anything more to mention about Rogue One? Because I'm trying to think of like specific Rogue One stuff.
Yeah, leave a comment on what your opinions of it were. Like, and then
I mean, leave a comment if this is on YouTube. If this is on, if they're watching this on Spotify or something, I don't think they could.
Just slap on YouTube. It's easier.
What if people want this on Spotify?
Oh, it sucks to be them, I guess.
What if they want it Apple Music?
Well, it sucks to be them, I guess.
What if they want it on Deezer?
Anything that isn't YouTube, it sucks to be the audience, I guess.
But like, yeah. I don't know, like.
Who even uses Deezer, actually?
Oh no, I was just looking on like.
You do not. Who do you know
was
uses Deezer?
I know people upload
Yeah,
podcasts on
you do
Deezer.
not know anybody.
I'm trying to look
uses
up like what people upload things on. It's like Spotify, Apple Music, then Deezer was probably one of them. I mean, maybe SoundCloud, but
If
I don't know.
you use Deezer, you're getting blocked from our channel. So I'm sorry, it's the way it is. I don't make the rules. Well, I do, but anyway, yeah. Yeah, it's a rather enjoyable film. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. It's personally, if we're not counting the original trilogy, it's my favourite Star Wars film as of yet. What about you, Benjamin? Like, in terms of film, what would you give it out of 10?
Why do you not count the original Star Wars film?
Because, like...
It's your favourite non-original Star Wars film.
If we want to put it like that.
I'll rate it... I know you don't like me rating things 7 out of 10.
No, 7 out of 10 is just lazy.
Because I'm always rating things 7 out of 10. But then it's like... I feel like 6 out of 10 is too low, but it's like I'm not a massive Star Wars buff yet to really say much. I can give it an 8 out of 10 if you want.
Give it, you know what?
Together, our combined...
Give it an 8 out of 10 for now.
Yeah.
And then, in the... 3 weeks later, when we've watched all the original trilogy...
Well, I could do a recap.
You can do a remake. Like, not remake.
I could do a remake.
A revote of what you thought.
Yeah. Fair enough.
There was a scene that me and Alex joked about, like just off the top of my head, where they land... So, first of all, they nick a transport ship. And... because the Imperials would have logged everything, they would have known that it was stolen. But fair enough, they got down south. And then, like, an inspection crew went on board, consisting of a stormtrooper, a ship lander, and an officer. Obviously, they got knocked out and had their costumes stolen. But the actor who was playing the main character, so the officer who went in was white. And the officer who came out looked Spanish. And the plane lander who went in, I don't really know what gender they were, but they looked quite tall and they came out shorter, feminine looking. And did I mention the stormtrooper didn't come out either? And there was 2 guards by the entrances, so you'd think in that span of 5 minutes they'd think, hold on a minute, the officer's looking a little different and he doesn't have the stormtrooper. What's going on here? Little small things like that. And, what else? Oh yeah, I really like the droid character and all that. And they introduced those Imperial droids into this. But they don't have them in any other film. They might have them in the Star Wars series, the TV shows. But they didn't have them in the original trilogy, so... It sort of asks the question of, why are they in this but not in the others?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, they do have Imperial droid, but it's different. It flies about with legs spider looking. For those who've watched it, you'll know what I mean. But funny enough, they weren't actually in the film either, so it's a bit weird.
Did you explain what you'd have done better, or did you just went on a rant about that scene?
No, I was just saying little small things that they could have ironed out, but chose not to.
But did you know any examples, or almost putting in the spot there, on how they could iron out something like that? Don't have to run through if you can't think of any. I was just wondering.
They could have named the characters of characters probably mentioned in the prequels or the original trilogy, but instead they decided to take the easy option by just killing everybody at the end.
Yeah.
So there's not really a mention of these characters, which, even though they're minor characters and you're why would we care? It's they got the Death Star plans, which are quite vital to the original trilogy. Because they only know how to blow up. And the scientist who created the Death Star, there's no mention of him in the original trilogy or the prequels. I mean, it wouldn't be in the prequels, but even in the TV show, The Acolyte, from what I've seen, they don't mention him. So...
yeah. So, would you...
But then again, it's a standalone film, but it would have been nice to, have them set on characters already mentioned, even if not shown.
So if you're thinking of someone to get into Star Wars, you're thinking... I mean, I personally feel like maybe Rogue One's probably...
Watch the original trilogy first, and then Rogue One, and then the prequels.
Oh, okay.
Sort of watch it in reverse order. And then if you want to waste time and want to see how bad Disney ruins stuff.
Except for Rogue One, yeah.
Yeah. And The Mandalorian. Watch the new trilogy.
Fair enough. So, like I said, the next one would be A New Hope. Yeah.
And then Empire Strikes Back, then Return of the Jedi. And then if you want to go watch the new trilogy, then...
Yeah. So our plan is for these little reviews, little podcasty reviews, is we'll do... Well, I mean, at the moment, we're going to watch Star Wars, so we'll probably be recording them on a once-a-week basis. But I'm thinking, like, maybe uploading them once every 2 weeks. So that gives us time if we're ever busy or anything like that. And then we'll find something to do after Star Wars.
Yeah. It's a good film. I mean, it would be nice if they made standalone glue-type films for the other...
There's a Han Solo one.
Other one.
Right? 2018?
Yeah, but that was... Let's not mention it. It's just not good. Technically, that is a standalone film because it explains his character, but it has nothing to do with the actual story, like the original story.
Yeah, but we're recording a bunch, so we might be. So by the time this is out, we might be already watched A New Hope. Or maybe that's coming. I don't know. But yeah, we're planning on recording a few.
We'll try and do this weekly, maybe, or once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be better. But we might be recording them a few in advance, just so we're just in case we ever do get busy. So
yeah,
this is going to be mainly on YouTube. We do a lot of videos on YouTube anyway, so that's like our main platform. We've got other social medias. We've got but I mean, a lot of them are like Spoon. Like, we got a TikTok, but that's, mainly, off, a Weatherspoons fan account, pretty much. Which, if you're not in the UK, it's just a pub chain. But then, podcast-wise, I'm thinking about Spotify, Apple Music, and obviously you may kind of Deezer, but we'll see what I'm planning for this.
Deezer, I'm quitting this channel, I swear to God.
But maybe Spotify and Apple Music, if those are the two things people listen on.
Yeah, if you want to put an audio thing, I'd say to choose Spotify.
Yeah. And then we have a Discord that we'd probably share, but we've been quite inactive.
The Discord's dead.
But if people are interested and do join, then it's more the fact that we don't have people talking in it, so we need we need to get if we get an active community, then the Discord will be resurrected and get people talking. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I'll leave social media links in the description below, but YouTube's our main platform anyway.
Oh yeah, and if you are watching on YouTube, do us a favour, subscribe. I want to get monetized.
I know it's quite good. This is going on for longer than we expected. But yeah, anyway, appreciate it. If you've got any feedback on ways we can improve, let us know. And that's it from Ben and Bailey.
Shit, that looks as well. But yeah, sorry, I got distracted. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for watching, or listening rather. But anyway, yeah, bye. Drunken swim song.
Alright, bye.
Should leave that in actually, it's pretty funny.